Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I've got the blank, which is great. But do I have a bingo? I'm thinking not. B and F not massively bingo-y. And I have duplicates. So, how to sort this rack out? Well, I think the choice is between fab and beef. And I'm going with fab. I'd like to keep at least one E on my rack. Okay, well, still got the duplicates. However, I feel this must be jolly close to a bingo, both a 7 and an 8. Not many floaters on the board, and they may be blocked, so let me look for a 7. Not seeing anything so far. Still nothing. Always difficult when you've got duplicate tiles. D-allate. Is that a 7? Yes, it is. Okay, so I have a 7. And E.D. Martyr. Just keeping an eye in case opponent has changed. I guess the clock's the easiest way of spotting that. Now, how about the R? That looks a useful tile. Not seeing a 7. Oh wow, fantastic start for opponent with a bingo. Only happens one game in 7 or 8. Unless it's my opponent on ISC, in which case it seems to happen an awful lot more often. Okay, so I'm only seeing the 2 7s. However, I've now got 2 double doubles to consider, in which case I'm looking for 8s through an I or an E. So, do I have de-aerate? I think I do. Wow, setting up super hot spots, but at least there are 2 of them for 82. I missed the Z and the J, which could have gone really well on those. And only one vowel. I don't think blimpers is good. And I don't think I've got anything with a duplicate I. But I do have good scoring tiles in B, M and P. Blimp is good. Not seeing anywhere great for that. I've got blip in row J. De-aerate takes a D and an S after it. M and P have some synergy. Just wondering if I've got anything through this E. Not a bingo, but just something which scores well. Not seeing it. Blip will leave MRS, which is quite nice, especially with floating vowels. And my S is a useful tile for de-aerate and for inlander. And opponent has a back-to-back bingo. Brutal. Okay. So I trail by about 50. Has opponent's play changed anything? Both of the hotspots remain available. But that might be to my advantage. So this is what I'm looking at, blip for 27. Actually, that's not a bad score. And I think the M would be my preference to keep out of B, P and M. I'm going with this. Wow, nice balanced rack. But do I have a bingo? There could be a 7 here. It hasn't come to mind. But let me consider the floaters. Do I have anything with an I? Not seeing anything. How about an N. Wow, there could be L, nothing. What about the B? Ambrosias with a B and an A. I've got ISM and ISMS as an ending. So solarism is good. Oh, wow, and I think that plays through the L of inlanders. I think solarism is good. Ah, yes, of and ab. I thought I was contemplating an AF play, but I'm not. Oralisms, I think, is an anagram. That doesn't play. So that's a bingo through the L. There's another L on the board, but that's not available. What about the E? Oh, and look at that opponent. I don't think deliberately, but has taken out this L as a floater. 39 points for Royne. Fantastic play. So I have other floaters to consider. What about the T? Gosh, T looks a useful letter for this rack. I've got the IST ending. No. And E. ISE ending. No, and the D. No, not seeing a bingo here. So what to do? I have Moira and Arid. Keeping 2 S's, that trashes the rack. What about placing my M above this A? Opponent could have the Z. I trail by 60. What does Moira score? 29 points. A play here would begin MI or MA. So I have MIR. What about Miro for 26? That takes an S. Row H is quite hot, so whichever spot I play in, I'm leaving a hot spot available. Do I really not have a bingo here? The N looks quite tantalising. What would this rack be with an N instead of an S? Then if I find a 7, it may take an S hook. No, not seeing a bingo or a 7 with an N instead of an S. Okay, so 15 minutes on my clock. I think I'm going to play here. It creates a couple of floaters. Turns over the tiles, which increases my chances of drawing a Z. There's still a couple of floating vowels, which makes up for the absence of vowels on my rack. Now, Mariah also good. Yeah, I'm going with this. And no vowels at all. Good grief, I have certainly upset the tile gods. I trail by 30, but it feels like a lot more. Nice play by opponents. Looks like they're balancing their rack and taking out bingo lanes. What to do here? Well, I'm thinking about playing through A and E. And if I can make a 5-letter play, then Well, I've got an S for row O. An opponent may not have an S. So do I have a 5-letter play? M-A-G, M-A-N, M-A-L. Well, I have gamer. I quite like the R though. What about getting the M under the E? Not a great rack leave, and only 14 points, and it's fairly obvious I have an S. Not that opponent can necessarily do anything about that. Now, what about playing through this I? Not seeing anything. The N can't go above any of the I's. That would require LG or one of my S's. Wow. What about playing through E and K? I think the best I can do here is Mercs. 22 points, but I am creating a lane in column 13. Yeah, I am going with this. Well, a couple of vowels. I have Sunglow. Wow. Nowhere for that, but I do have a bingo on my rack. Opponent very unlikely to provide me with a lane. Opponent is a top international player. So what to do? I do have vowels, but they're the non-bingo-y ones. M and O floaters, not particularly helpful, but the R for future plays could be useful for a play ending ER or IER. Now my M has hampered use of this triple letter square for the Z. Although Zamia does still play, and opponent changes. Wow, and just 20 points between us. Am I sure there is nowhere for Sunglow? I think so. That's a shame. The Genii takes nothing. So what about the M? Lungworms is a 9. Not seeing anything there. What about the O? No, nothing with the R or the I. So how to sort this rack out? Close to wuss, but EU not good. Just wondering if I can get my W tripled. But I'm not seeing a way of doing that. I would like to get rid of W and U, but also score a decent amount. Interesting, I've got Wongi up here. ULS not terrible. And it is opening up lanes. So that's my benchmark play, 10 minutes on my clock. Is there any way of getting rid of W and U? Arid takes nothing. Bungalows through B and A. Wongi doesn't feel like the best play at all. but it does have some merit. Mew is good. Nowhere for that. I am playing Wongy for 17. Wow, and I draw the other W. If my U were an O, I would have saw logs. So I'm not seeing a 7 here. What about the M? O. Pretty fruitless task with U and W. But it's always worthwhile looking for bingos. So I have 2 S's. I may be able to play wuss somewhere. I do. I have wuss in column 13, making mu and de-aerates and creating a lane. And slag is quite a good rack leave. And look at this, only 4 points between us. Opponent changed 5. Were they retaining a blank or simply a couple of nice tiles? Well, if opponent does bingo, they're in a strong position. Because however much slag is an okay rack leave, it's not a great one. Now, new floaters in Wongy. Do I have anything with the O? Not a bingo, just saw log as an interesting word. Now, opponents played, taken out the Z spot, scored 13 points, taken out my wuss spot. Unbelievable, that's the second time this game. Roy took out my bingo, and him has taken out wuss. Unbelievable. Why me? So, what am I going to do? W and U are the real problem tiles. Well, yeah, I have a spare S, so I can do this. Words for 16, which is creating a lane. If opponent plays in column 15, they will be creating a new lane. Him takes an S, so opponent has created a new S lane. A new S ending bingo lane. I am going with this. And I draw a V. Still 1 more V and 3 U's to come, so it's pretty tricky dodging all this dreck. My vowels are now bingo-y ones. I trail by 20, opponent on turn. Not seeing anything through the O. G and V, not great tiles. It would be nice to play off both of them. I could do that with Vog. Keeping scale, which is a nice 5-letter set. But I am sacrificing points in order to keep that nice set. Only 4 A's and 3 E's to come. 33 tiles in the bag. I guess if opponent doesn't play in column 15, then, well, they do. I was just thinking a play in that spot would be better than my Vog spot. But this is great. Only 26 points for opponent. They have created a lane. Is Vog the play? It takes an S. I've got one. It's not obstructing column 13 or 14 as bingo lanes. It is taking out this O and the W as bingo floaters, but the W isn't a particularly great bingo floater. And I really like this rack leave. Am I? Am I doing this? I think so. I only trail by 50. I don't want to turn over tiles. There's quite a bit of dreck in the bag. I am going with this. Oh, wow. Q and Y. Absolutely insane. Wow. That is brutal. 2 U's to come. The existing one's not available. Any I's on the board? There's the Eye of Mariah. Wow, but having sacrificed points, this is not what you want to see. If opponent does put a U in the open, I'll have lackeys. Will opponent do that? Maybe I should throw back Q and Y rather than playing Chi for 11, because the Y really dampens my bingo prospects. Now I do have an A, so any T's for cats. If I can get 20 or 30 for the Q, maybe worth playing. Now 56 points for opponent. They now lead by 90. What to do? I don't have an O for going under EX, but I do have a Y for TA, so I have clay. And if I changed, I would get 0 points, and opponent would surely score something in row O, so I think this is the right thing to do. There are 2 U's and a blank to come. A Q bingo would score very well, and E and S are good tiles, so I think this is significantly better than changing, and also better than anything else I've seen. Can I do anything even better? No, I think I do want to retain the E. There are only 2 E's to come. I'm going with this. Okay, well, interesting. I have Feek, which is going to sort the rack out. Is there anywhere for that? And Feek does take an S, which I would like to retain, but I may not be able to. So I have Feeks in column 13. Is there anywhere for Chi and a decent score? I have Cheese and Vugs. 30 points. 27 for opponents. They haven't provided a Feek spot. So, what to do? I trail by 80. Only 14 tiles to come. Is there really nowhere for Feek? That would get rid of all of my bad tiles. Well, maybe I should play Feeks here. Because it's 34 points, 280, it keeps me within a bingo's reach of opponent. ET is a decent rack leave. There is a floating M in Mariah. There is column 14. So very slim pickings in terms of bingos, but I am a massive unfavourite given the current situation. Is Feeks the play? 34 points has got to be better than changing. Has opponent, or does the board really not provide a decent Q spot? 4 minutes on my clock. Just looking at Union, but I can't play my Q around that. Yeah, I think I'll play the Q and draw the remaining U's. Well, I don't. I draw the Z. Is there a sliver of hope in this game? My Z can play above the top of Jarter, ZE, Zar and ER, keeping a decent rack leave. Still 9 tiles in the bag. There are still bingo lanes on both sides of the board. Through an R, I would have trapezed, none available. I do have P's and FE, but that turns over a lot of tiles. Where else can I get value from my Z? Not seeing anything with the M. I don't know any 5-letter front extensions to clay. Very few scoring tiles left, just V and C. Just 18 for opponent. And of course, opponent has taken the Z spot that I was eyeing up. 6 tiles in the bag. Interesting, P's. Well, it would leave 1 in the bag. I may draw the blank, but then there would only be the M as the bingo lane. So 3 minutes on my clock. What is the best thing to do? I could empty the bag with P's. Well, I think this is a better spot for P's. Yeah, all those words are good. It's 56 points, good grief. And I'm leaving 1 in the bag, and I'm leaving 2 bingo lanes on the board. Wow, is this my moment? I don't think it is. Oh dear. So, that is absolutely rotten, because there were a decent number of vowels left and there was a blank, but they haven't fallen my way. Okay, so I only trailed by 12, but I think that's a gulf, given opponent's skill level and my rack. Only 1 vowels are, well, they grow in importance in the end game, so having only 1 really hampers me. And P's was a vowel-heavy play, but I don't think there's anything I could do about that. So I've drawn both of the scoring tiles. Opponents only got 1 pointers, but I think that's going to be enough for them. And I don't think they even need to go out in 2 to win. So, what can I do? Not very much. Struggling to see any plays at all. I'm only seeing lame efforts like vet alongside feeks. However, it was nice to get P's down. I nearly missed that spot. It's always difficult to see the multiple overlap plays. Now, Fogu, nice play by opponent, 23 points. Left themselves with Lauer, although there was 1 in the bag, so that wasn't planned. And they have Flower and Fluor. Do they have a second out? 2 minutes on my clock. Does opponent have an out with the M? No. What about the B? No. Okay, well that focuses my mind. What do I have with the F? Or through W? Oh, I have watted. For 20. But is that setting up an out for opponent? It's certainly blocking their F plays. Yeah, I think it works. I may end up getting stuck with the V. But this is a lost game. Can I do any better than watted in this spot? I have wove. Would that be better? I don't think so. One minute on my clock. I'm just wondering if I could go out with CVT, with civet or evict, but I don't think those vowels are on the board. Okay, I'm running out of thinking time. I'm not seeing anything better than watted. I'm going with this. So, has opponent spotted an out? 7 minutes to find it. 1 minute on my clock. Just 15 points between us. But I think that's enough for opponent. So what do I have apart from that? I have that. Anywhere else for the V? And can I get rid of the C as well? Through an A, I would have VAC. Gov is good. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything fantastic. Just 12 for opponent. Less than 1 minute on my clock. They've got an O, oat and odd, so they are going out. I think I'll play vet. Am I stuck with the C? I have cat. I have Joko. Nice. Okay, so, oh well, opponent is absolutely going out next turn. 35 seconds left. Yeah, I'm going with this. And opponent still with 6 minutes to find the best spot for their O. Veto is good. New is good. Oat. Exo not available. Strategically blocked by clay. And the final score, 369 to me, 402 for opponent, a winning margin of 33 points, so well done to opponent. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Brutal stuff. So, it was me to go first, and look at this, I started with the blank. And, well, just optimism. Beef I thought about. Could have played Faye, but yeah, Faye would not have been a bad choice. B with A and E is bingo-y. Now, look at this for opponent. Absolutely fantastic start. Just the solitary bingo. And I provided precisely the tile for that. However, I am able to play D air 8 for 82, and I am back in the game. But opponent's 7 random tiles have formed a bingo, and my lead is short-lived. So, L10. Elk is good. So, Mill, that would have been nice. 32 points. What do? I played Blip for 27. Yeah, better rack leave. Slightly fewer points. But Mill would have taken out these, or this Z and X spot. But B and P, pretty horrible pair, so I prefer Blip. Opponent plays Royne, killing my bingo. Now, Moira for 41. Oh wow, EIK is good, so Moira plays above Steeked, and Moira only takes an I at the end. So precisely the tiles I played, I could have played between DR8 and Steeked and got 12 more points. Well done if you spotted that. Now, just 30 points between us. Opponent with a lot of vowels. They played Genii. What do? I play Mercs J12. Yep, that was my play. And opponent with 7 vowels. Wow. They change. I have Sunglow, nowhere for it. And I play Wongi for 17, N9. Well, Owls looks good, but in terms of score, but it's opening row O, and the rack leave isn't fabulous. So I think Wongi, yeah, I think it's okay. It's just off the bottom of this list. It's possible that some of these plays would have been better. So opponent plays him. I play Woods for 16, but J14. Oh, Wilds was available. It does retain the U, but 18 more points probably makes that a better play. Opponent plays Union. C9, vocal through the O, that's nice. I play Vogue because there was a lot of dreck in the bag, as well as a lot of good tiles. But I was retaining a really good 5-letter set with bingo lanes on the board, so I still like my play. EGS is pretty ropey 3-letter set. Great score by opponent, 56 points, and I've drawn the Q and the Y. But opponent has opened up row O, so I think Clay is better than changing. And still just 50 points between us. Opponent plays Jata. And now F13, Feeks, that was my play. And opponent from this point has the blank. So no bingo, they play Ion. And here we go, this is where my hopes were momentarily raised. D3, Ps for 56. But opponent has the blank, plays Fogu, and I have a really awful rack. So I play Watted for 20. No out for opponent, they play Burl. And, well, I saw Joko for 13. Yeah, that's 7 more points. I think very little between those. I would have done the maths in a tournament game. And then finally, 7 for opponent is best, and they get 6. But what a game. Absolutely fantastic fun. Great start for me with the blank and the double-double with DA rate, but some superb plays from opponent and some thwartings of plays which I had eyed up, and then towards the end some pretty grim racks and some, well, I call them grim racks, but really they're in, all racks are neutral, and you have the challenge of making the best play, the winningest play, or the least losingest play. And so regardless of whether you win or lose, if you take pleasure in the game, then it's worthwhile and a fun exercise. So this was certainly fun, and it was simply my draw after Ps which really extinguished my hopes of salvaging a victory from this game. But nevertheless, absolutely superb fun. Many congratulations again to opponent on their victory. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.